Hello, everybody. Just checking in here, making sure everybody can hear me okay. We should be complete. Yeah, we are live. Just waiting for the sound to come back on the channel. What a great day, everybody. Just want to start with that. I have the pump here beside me, but I don't know if I should pump it. Anyway, as usual, let's just jump right in. And for some reason, it's not firing up. So I'm just waiting for YouTube to fire up live, make sure there's no problems. This is weird. Strange. There we are. That was a huge delay. There we are. That was a... Hey, sorry about that. Anyway, we are here. We are live, and it's Friday, and I think Friday is my new favorite day of the week. So, as usual, without further ado, let's jump right in. It's Fire Fridays. It's going to be a new segment. We got the pump, and as usual, we'll see what's happened. Ever since I did this yesterday, Bitcoin is up thousands of dollars. Ethereum is up from under 3,000 up $300 or more. I can't even keep track at this stage. It's just bonkers. But let me explain why everything is on fire. So, as usual, math, money, freedom. You guys know the drill. And none of this is financial advice. It's all edutainment. So you're here just on Friday night. Instead of being in the clubs, you're here with me to learn about life-changing wealth. Again, somebody just said in the comments, it's all metrics. Yes, it is. This is all data-driven analysis. There's no emotion. There's no hype. There's no hopium. You know, if I saw bad things in the numbers, you'd be the first to hear it. And I do in some numbers. So anyway, let's talk about Plan B. And his stock-to-flow model, probably one of the key metrics, key charts, that's been on the money for a long time. It does deviate on occasion, which is normal. No model is ever perfect. But as he says, he'd rather be loosely right than perfectly wrong. I think that was his words. Anyway, Plan B is hilarious and very clever fellow. So basically here, when he was asked, are we still going to 100,000? He said, yes, we're going to 100,000 first and then 288,000. So according to his model, we need some red, and we haven't had any red yet this term. So basically that's all you need to see here is we will be going red soon. So thank you, Plan B, for all your great work and all your diligence over time. Let's look at another thing as well. This is probably the most exciting chart I've seen ever come out of Fidelity. And you all know Fidelity, those of you outside the US. It's one of the biggest money managers. They manage retirement accounts, pension accounts, brokerage accounts, etc. This came from one of their internal analysts, their director of global macro. Global macro. See the importance of macro? And basically, he said this is very similar to how gold looked in the 1970s. And he overlaid the Bitcoin chart since inception to gold. And you'll see here that it tracks pretty perfectly. But what's really interesting about this chart is not that it matches gold. And they believe digital gold is the new gold, which is Bitcoin. But if you look carefully, there's two things that really drop out of this. First of all, summer 2022, approximately 10 to 12 months from now, they project a $200,000 price of Bitcoin. Impressive? Well, wait to hear what's next. If you forecast out to 2027, circa 5.5 years from now, not that far away, they have a $2 million plus Bitcoin price. All right, so I've proven in a couple of previous videos how it's very easy to justify Bitcoin getting to $1 million by the year 2030. They're taking a $2 million target by the year 2027, which isn't that far away at all. So think about that, everybody. I thought that was super exciting. Now, in terms of some options news, you guys know I have a hawk eye on all of the options charts and everything else for Ethereum and Bitcoin. This one is one of the reasons why I'm extremely bullish that we'd hit a $50,000 Bitcoin this week, because next week, all the big money is betting on a $50,000 plus Bitcoin. These are the indications here. The green lines are the call options and the blue lines are the put options. So you can see there's some people who are still bearish. There's a couple of people out there looking at a $20,000 Bitcoin next week. Yeah, they're losing their money. So is everybody pretty much under 47,000. So you will see that's where the money is being placed. And there's a huge multiple of bullish option buying over bearish option buying. So again, look at the people, like even at $65,000, massive bets there. People betting a lot more too. So anyway, that is why I'm pretty confident that we will see a nice $50,000 Bitcoin by the 27th of August next week. So anyway, we shall see. Now let's talk about some of the big money. Kind of touched on this yesterday, but just a reminder, this whole market right now, even despite pretty low volumes, it's been driven by institutional buying. And you don't see the volumes on the exchanges because these purchases in many cases are done over the counter. So you got Wells Fargo, I discussed yesterday, one of the oldest banks in the United States. You've got all the other financial institutions that are offering Bitcoin to their wealthy clients. Not for the plebs, but for the super rich people. These people are jumping on and they move markets. And they include banks like JPMorgan, BNY Mellon, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, German Pension Fund, yada, yada, yada. It goes on and on and on. That's why I said, July, all the big money would hit. It did. It's continuing to hit with Wells Fargo being added, the German pension group being added, and an awful lot more. So extreme bullish times. That's why we're going to 50K. Not only am I saying it, but this publication said it too. So in more good news, this is this is not good news. This is a little bit of sad news. But it's good news because it's why Bitcoin is needed and it's why you guys are here. You're not here because you want to listen to me. You're here because you want to learn and how to make life-changing wealth and change your future. So since 2008, the US has printed well over $12 trillion. That's a lot of zeros. Now, in that time frame, the top 1% has seen their income soar 31.4%. But you know what? The bottom 99%, their income went up just 0.4% over the last 13, 14 years. So the point I'm trying to make here is, despite all the money, despite all the boost in the economy, despite all the GDP growth, you name it, it doesn't trickle down. Everything stays with the top 1%. This is what Bitcoin fixes. All the people now, the 1.5% of the world population that are jumping on the Bitcoin train now, have the opportunity to change their life. If they wait in the current system, they're not close enough to the money printer. The continuum effect doesn't enrich them. And this data here proves it out. And this gives everybody a chance to be part of this revolution. So very exciting for everybody. Bad and good at the same time. So we know the way out. We know the way to escape. And don't let all the super rich have all the Bitcoin. And don't panic sell when people are very bearish. I'm going to just zoom out for a second and have a quick word. This is the time, once Bitcoin starts going above 50,000, that's when the people with no bags get really, really, really bitter and upset. You're seeing people like Peter Schiff lashing out today. I wouldn't even publish his tweet, but he is angry and he is pissed off. And a lot of other people will get that way. So just, if you have those people in your life, just say, change the conversation. Don't listen to them. Don't be sucked in. We know where this is going. The supply on exchanges is getting thinner and thinner, and the money going in is getting bigger and bigger, okay? It's such a simple formula. Anyway, back to a little bit of more good news. This is the Euro Bitcoin options. These are the first Bitcoin options that are fully regulated in Europe, and the Eurex is going to launch this Bitcoin ETN futures to meet significant demand, as they say. Now, the backstory behind this is, again, first of all, completely regulated. Second of all, derivatives. Third, Europe. Fourth, I think it's launched September 13th, soon. But the ticker BTCE, the Bitcoin derivative, has been around for, I think, since 2020. And it's already one of the most highly traded derivatives in Europe. And with this full regulation now, it's off to the races. So this contract will be heavily traded, I imagine, and everybody in Euroland wants in. The corporations, the banks, and everybody else, and of course the super rich. So great news for Europe. And hopefully US will follow suit. I think that's one of the reasons why Gary Gensler talks about the importance of futures markets first, before an ETF. Now, back to black baller Mauler. Jack Mallers is an incredible kid, and every time I hear him, I'm just so impressed by everything he says. And basically, his system is now launched, and Strike is letting US customers buy and sell Bitcoin for almost zero in fees. Zero. Like literally pennies. And this is basically clearly shooting bows across or arrows across the bow of Coinbase as a corporation. And then on top of that, you've got Square, Cash App as well. They'll be putting some pressure, PayPal as well, and other incumbents in the space. So we'll see what happens, especially with Coinbase. Coinbase are doing some very exciting things themselves. They decided to put $500 million of crypto on the balance sheet, and they're letting that be determined by exactly what ratio people are buying on the exchanges. So that'll be interesting to look at as well. But I think this is going to be interesting to see this play out, and I'm a huge Strike fan. So let's talk a little bit about Ethereum and ETFs as well. So the Ethereum ETF is not likely. I said this last week in the video, and it was pretty clear, reading the tea leaves of what Gary Gensler was saying. He is a kind of a Bitcoin maxi guy. He loves Bitcoin. He trusts it. It's truly decentralized. And that's his benchmark by which he is building everything. And because of all the regulation fluff over the last month, we built the crypto compendium. And now we're in a position to really estimate very accurately not only the regulatory risk, but the amount of centralization, the amount of pocket lining, the amount of inflation, the amount of dumpage, all that type of stuff, and the credit rating, and everything we need to know to be able to assess crypto very quickly and easily. So it was pretty clear that there was no way an Ethereum ETF was going to be approved before a Bitcoin ETF, and that's a proof here, and it may not happen for a very long time. So don't expect that to happen. But I am very confident that a Coinbase ETF will be approved late this year, early next. Monitor that carefully. Now, in macro news, this is also very important for us all to know. The macro backdrop is critical to the space we are investing in. And a big thank you to Sanjay, who sent this in. Sanjay, you find the most amazing things. So basically here, this chart looks at a couple of things, and it's important to look at it. It ties into money printing, which I start off the presentation with, and it talks about policy dynamics and how they're going to change over the next year. So first of all, we all know to be unlikely, as per inflation dynamics in the US and Europe, the year-over-year rate of change of both base money and broad money, base money and broad money are highlighted in this chart here, will probably decelerate sharply. They can't continue to print trillions and trillions every quarter. And if they do, things will go bonkers anyway. But the point is, this ties in the global manufacturers' output. So we see a couple of things happening here. One is a steep downturn, unless a lot of money continues to print, but they can't continue printing at this rate. So what this basically means is we could have a big downturn in the macroeconomic backdrop from a multitude of perspectives, including production, GDP numbers, etc. And this could all be accelerated with supply chain delays brought about by C-19, maybe some global war stuff as well happening as well. So anyway, don't want to alarm anybody, but this is what we see in the tea leaves, so it's important to look at. Now let's talk about some DeFi news. Aave just published some new numbers. I talked about them yesterday, as well as Avalanche. But Aave is leading the race in cumulative deposits of 19 billion compared to Compound 16 and Maker 7 billion. But it gets better. The Avalanche march continues up, and the question is, like Avalanche, since we got it literally today, in the last 24 hours, Avalanche went up over 100% of the initial purchasing price we bought Avalanche on in the retirement portfolio, and it's up over 3x now at this stage. It has been going crazy, and it's kind of like the Sol 2.0 happening, and it's nice to have these fast horses in the retirement portfolio that I know many of you have as well. So congratulations to you out there. But the three reasons why Avalanche is on fire is basically, simply put, one, I touched on one yesterday. The, what's it called? The Avalanche Rush, I think. It's a $180 million liquidity mining incentive program. And Aave and Curve are heavily involved. We have Aave as well, like I mentioned. Then the Avalanche bridge between Ethereum, which is a next generation cross-chain bridging technology, which will move assets between the Avalanche ecosystem and Ethereum networks. Obviously, the more cross-chain capabilities, you've got the ability to pull stuff from the Ethereum network over to Avalanche, etc. And the third reason is they are improving their tokenomics. One of the things, even though it's in our top 10 crypto portfolio, one of the things I never liked was the tokenomics for Avalanche. It was always like nagging at me. But now they're burning, which is great. And we're going to see a lot of trend now of projects with bad tokenomics or heavily centralized, I think they're going to reshuffle things and become better. So it's good to see Avalanche here burning a lot of their tokens. This is two factors. One is the amount of AVAX burned over the last couple of weeks, and the amount of fees burned, nearly, well, 6.2 million. Not a lot, nothing like the Ethereum burning that's happening, but the burning thing seems to be a trend right now, and it's good. So it'll bring balance back to the tokenomics, which sometimes can be problematic, and it may also get the regulators off their chest. But wait, Luna is also burning. So Terra Luna, Terra is native, the token of Luna, sorry, has also rallied about 80-85% over the past 7 days. So this is one of the top three. I do not own Terra because you can't own everything. And I've got a very strict discipline of having limited numbers of protocols in my stable. Anyhow, the South Korean firm basically has surpassed, I think, Polygon, Matic, because Matic has been a little bit asleep, to the third highest in TVL among blockchains. So Luna has been doing incredibly well, and we'll see what happens. But this burn that they're also doing will help balance out their tokenomics as well, which was one of the reasons I didn't buy it in the first place. So it's good to see that happening. And let's talk a little bit about, since we're on the topic of DeFi, back to Gary. I'm tired of talking about him, but this is very, very important for our investments. Sometimes you got to do the boring work and be exposed to this stuff. But this guy, Gary, slammed DeFi. We anticipated it, and we are prepping for it. Now, the good news is he has a lot of shaky DeFi projects to go after first. Now, what he spoke about, and when he slammed them hard, he basically says, the more centralized, the more scrutiny he's going to give them. The more control the insiders have, the more scrutiny he's going to give them. The more the insiders are lining their pockets, the more scrutiny he's going to give them, etc. This is part of the whole crypto compendium that we have, because we saw this coming. It was like writings on the wall. And the good thing about Gary is he knows the space. He knows who to go after. He knows how to protect investors. So we have that tool, and we're going to use it more and more. Now the DeFi plays that we are in, I believe they are sufficiently decentralized to not get the scrutiny of the SEC for a long time, because there's so many other shaky projects they need to go after first. So they'll be busy with that. So I'm not worried about divesting any of those investments just yet. Let me turn this off a second. I didn't know my Discord was on. So this is also another thing as well for the XRP fans out there. I know the XRP army is out there, but Gary as well, everything I've read that he's written, he is coming at XRP hard, and I don't know quite exactly why he is, but now he's playing hardball. Now, the key piece here to learn, if I was XRP, I wouldn't push back and treat the SEC with such disrespect, because that'll annoy them further and draw more of their ire. Now, remember as well, as the old expression goes, I think it's a good lawyer never asks a question they don't know the answer to. So they know there's an issue, and there's a reason they're going after all the Slack communications, and fines will come. So XRP remains firmly in the crosshairs of the SEC. I mentioned this before a couple of weeks ago, and it's going to continue. So I don't know what that means for XRP investments, but we'll see. So another piece of a little bit related news. This is the Tesla robot that these guys have put together. I mean, Tesla is a core holding of mine. Mind blown by everything Tesla do, and I know Michael Burry, etc., is shorted and stuff like that, but we'll see. But what's incredible about this is it's incredible and terrifying at the same time. They're building the technology they have for the car, for the FSD. They can easily port over to a robot, and powered by the Dojo AI layer, neural net, and so much more. It is absolutely terrifying. Here we are in Terminator land. It's already happening. And Elon Musk was always afraid of AI. Now we know why. But getting back to the fundamentals of Tesla real quick, this is super interesting as well. Again, Sanjay, thank you for sending this in. This is a cool analysis from, I can't remember the name on the internet, but he looked at the increase in projections for earnings per share going up 20 and 15% respectively for FY21 and FY22. And guess what's happened since the big bump in earnings have gone up? The stock has done nothing. Relatively nothing. Now, the math, just for you all to know who probably don't know this, but the typical math I've always used is if a company has an increase in earnings growth of 15% annually, it means its earnings will double in 5 years. And if the company grows earnings 30% annually, its earnings will double in 3 years. Pretty easy to figure that out. And we all know we're going well above $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 in 3 years for Tesla. So that's another piece of great news. But again, the analysts haven't woken up yet. So, covered that already. Another thing that was really stunning, as a final note of today, is when you look at the S&P 500, it's nearly $40 trillion worth of stocks. 25% of it is made up of 5 companies. The new FAM is the new acronym. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft. I own Alphabet, which is Google. I don't own any of the rest. I just sold my Apple, but extremely bullish on Amazon now as well. Just waiting for a dip. And then we jump in there too. So with that, I'm going to open up the Q&A. Thank you all for being here. You guys rock. And I'm going to switch camera, and hopefully you guys can still hear me. Questions are coming in already. And a big thank you. We have K8 helping us here moderate and keeping everybody safe, and also managing all the super chats for me so I don't miss any. And a big thank you as well for all the donations. We are very blessed to be able to make a difference. We share all this information and all the donations you make after Google takes their share, of course. And we sponsor all of the animals with this as well as many other good causes. So thank you. Thank you, Taylor Small, for your contribution. Cronus6 checked Charles' Twitter. He said his story was a lie and they've already taken down already. Okay, I wasn't sure. It was in one of the top crypto newspapers, so it was weird. It seemed pretty reputable and a quote, but sorry about that. Misinformation. But it would have been nice. $150 Cardano. It would have been awesome. Anyway, do you have plans to do a deep dive in Helium Network crypto? We got more than a few Helium miners in this community. Yeah, we do. Kfinner, we will check that out. Again, we have a long list of cryptos to analyze, and we did run it through the initial scrutiny, and it looked okay. It wasn't exactly the best thing, and I know it's purely a miner's play. It's not necessarily for investors otherwise, but we'll have a quick look and see what type of conclusion we can come to. Calvatore, Bitwise versus GBTC, which would you put in a Roth IRA? I would not touch Bitwise with a 40-foot pole. Check it out. Check the NAV, the net assets in the actual tool and the premium they charge. So it is absolute highway robbery. GBTC is by far the better one to hold in a Roth IRA. So I've been monitoring Bitwise. It hasn't gotten any better, but check it out. And Tesla in the gong. Cool name. Thanks to you, I'm green from being 41%, from being minus 41%. Great. You can always, sometimes when things go down, markets go down, just reassess your investment thesis, shuffle a few positions around, kick the losers out, add some winners in, and then you can turn things around. Still buy Solana today. We were banging on the door of $80 last time I checked. Let me just have a quick look and find out where we are exactly with that. Bear with me 1 second. And yeah, $78.50, taking another run up towards 80. Each time it hits 80, it sells off. 80 sells off. 80 sells off. So there's a big sell wall up there that's hard to beat. I still think right now, I think you can get Solana in the 60s after doing a 4x from $20 all the way to 80. I wouldn't buy near the 80 level. The odds are it's going to fall down more as well. So be careful there. Andrew Wells, with a potential ETH supply squeeze coming, there is a risk of gas fees too high to be practical for dApps. How do you see this playing out? That is a big problem. I was actually analyzing that today. I was looking at the gas fees. I was going to include it, but I know people aren't that interested. There was a spike up in gas fees and now it's going down again, but you got to remember that the network is growing so fast. So they have scaled it. Apparently they've increased scalability 5-fold since the beginning of this year, according to Vitalik Buterin. But the problem is the network is just growing so much. So I'm hoping that things like Polygon will still help with the layer 2 scaling for it to go forward. And we'll see. It is practical for some of the dApps, but not all. And your typical gas fee is in most cases under $5, so people can time that. So we'll see. But again, we're 3 or 4 months away from 2.0, and that should solve everything. Sayad, you are always so kind, and it's Friday. I'll have a glass of wine with you, sir. One day I hope we can do it face to face, and big thank you for being a supporter since day one early this year. So why Puma? My Bitcoin 0.75, and I can get 0.25 for a whole coiner, but will under 50k be a good price? So the question is, what is the lowest price you see in the next 1, 2, and 5 years? All right. I've covered this before. Wiley Puma, interesting name, and pumas are beautiful animals. If we go to 100k, we could retrace back to 50. If we go to 200k, we could retrace back to 100k. That's basically the way I see it going. So this year, this bull run, which will run into probably Q1, Q2, 2022, the way things are looking right now with the strength and the supply and the money flows, and it's just beginning, and more treasuries are putting Bitcoin into their balance sheet. We heard the Coinbase news. It's just going to go gangbusters. So the lowest price, we could technically be at the lowest price right now at 50k. If we start breaking new all-time highs, there's nothing, it's what they call pure price discovery between 65,000 and 100,000. There's nothing but fresh air up there. Once it starts going, and the weird thing is with human psychology, you got all these people that never bought because they're waiting for a dip. But once it starts breaking an all-time high, they all FOMO in, and that drives things crazy. So the short answer to your question is, we could be at the lowest area now. With some type of gray swan event, some huge stock market weakness, we could wick back down to 35k, maybe 30k, worst case scenario. But I think 42k is that new floor, 42.5. We're close to knocking on the door. Like 47.7 was the other critical layer we just got through early this morning, which I wrote in Patreon last night that we were going to do. And we'll see. So Chadwick, have your price predictions changed for ETH with all the bullish news for it? Sort of. I'm probably going to bump it up at least $1,000 from 8,900 up to close to 10,000. But I am still a little bit concerned about ETH 2.0. I'm a little bit concerned about the gas fees like we just discussed. There's a few other areas that have me nervous. And I'm beginning to see other protocols like Solana and Avalanche, which we own as well, beginning to eat some market share. But they still have the network effect. Nearly everything runs off of Ethereum right now. So I think they'll be fine. The supply squeeze is the big bullish factor. And that's going to hit real soon. So thank you for the question, Chadwick. Animesh Anand, what do you think about the qualified opportunity funds? I don't even know what they are. I tend not to invest in mutual funds, ETFs, that type of stuff. I rather make my own investment decisions. Let me see. I'm looking at them now. Riaz. I'll have a dig into those and see if there's anything good there, but if I had to buy a fund, I'd buy the RK from Cathie Wood. Despite all the hate she gets, I think she is the best in the business. And I believe in disruption. And even if you just look at the S&P 500, it's 500 companies. 5 of them make up a quarter of the value. So that's how disruption is coming. It's coming for everything. It's going to eat the world. So very important to recognize. Danny Wright, I just learned about the Wyckoff accumulation and distribution theory. Is this affecting Bitcoin? Yes. Well, the problem is these things exist and things happen in patterns and people trade based on patterns and it becomes a kind of like a preconceived notion. And that's what actually happens. So yes, there's an effect, but I think we're hardcore into accumulation right now. Everything I see in all on-chain metrics, it just shows crazy accumulation. So, according to that, we're back on the Wyckoff train in accumulation mode and should be heading far north from here, per the Wyckoff distribution, not investment advice. Craig Moss, good to see you again. What is the most profitable crypto to mine? Also, can you define the metaverse for those who don't understand exactly what that is? Yeah, well, first of all, I think the most profitable mining is either Ethereum or Helium and Bitcoin. It all depends on exactly what your setup is and what scale you have, but they're the top 3. I'm not a miner. I just know it's a cutthroat business. But I know a lot of people are making a lot of money on helium mining. Now, regarding the metaverse, this is basically the new world. So you guys are all familiar with AR and VR, virtual reality, augmented reality. Metaverse becomes this whole new world that's out there that you can buy real estate on and everything else. And that's what things like people like Raoul Pal believes. Everything is moving to social communities, digital blockchain, tokenization. You're able to buy a piece of the metaverse out there. Even incorporating that, people could argue that NFTs are part of the metaverse. You could be in a video game, you could buy a sword that's part of the metaverse. You could be another video game, you buy a piece of land or a castle or a pizza shop. And, you know, that's kind of the whole world. We're actually going to do well, I won't say what we're going to do on that, but Craig, watch this space. Something exciting coming as well. Alan Avery, have you ever been able to look at the relationship of Gavin Wood, Dot, and Moloch DAO yet? No, I haven't. I have not. Let me take a note of that. I just don't have enough hours in the day working with Patreon, researching, trading, 4 million grant to sub guilds. I will check that out. Obviously, I am a Polkadot investor, and that didn't come on my radar as a point of concern, so I haven't dug into it. But it's not listed now to have a look when I get time. And so sorry, it's just not enough hours in the day, and there's so much to do. Drew Sanders just bought over 100 Chainlink, and I'm considering selling it for another Ethereum token. Your opinion? Chainlink is a good, solid investment to have, but it won't be the fastest horse. But it's a nice one to round out your portfolio, and it'll still do very well. I see Chainlink going definitely to $40-$60, so it's up very nicely today. Actually, it's up near 30. It hit 29 earlier. So right now it's so hard. I think it was George from CryptoZest put me on the spot on Sunday. What would I buy right now? And that was basically after everything had run, and things have even run even more. But I did say Kusama looked like it was ready to pounce, and it's up $75 since Sunday. So I was right about it moving up another $16 today. So it's hard to say. Chainlink is a safe one to have. I think Matic has been a laggard. Algorand has been moving as well. And then you've got stuff like Avalanche and Solana that are just completely on fire. They're like my top two over the last couple of months. So hard to say what I would do, but I definitely keep some of your Chainlink. Luke Broyles, what is your simplest way to see price bottom or near top for best entry? Chain metrics, TA, Bollinger Bands, fear, greed, combo, something else. So I look at chain analytics. Well, first of all, I pick my crypto, and then I look at movement and volume, money flows. Then I look at all the basic stuff. I love Bollinger Bands. I love the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. I look at my RSI and my MACD. Sometimes I look at them all in combination, and I see exactly. I use the Bollinger Band to identify either a buy or sell opportunity, and then confirm with RSI and confirm the RSI with the MACD. I also use trend lines extensively. You can do so much with trend lines, and they're completely underrated. So, Luke, that's what I do. Investor's Edge. Bought Tesla 2018 cost base 44. Yeah, a little higher than me. Great job. Now hold two $1,000 Tesla leaps. After watching your vids, bought quarter Bitcoin and 30K. Now, how would you diversify? So I've got a big Tesla bag and Bitcoin bag. I'd be a little bit concerned about the Tesla leaps. It depends on the year. If you're out to 2023, you're okay. 2022, I'd be nervous because I see Tesla going to 850 to 950 before Christmas on a bounce. But 1,000 is dangerous. But if you have till 2023, you're fine. But never buy leaps out of the money. That's always suicide. It's not good for money. You're just selling. You're just buying time, and other people are letting your time deplete. So you never get a good return unless you get things going parabolic. Then you get a good ROI. Yeah, you're doing well. Let me see. Trying to calculate. I don't know how many Teslas you have right now. I know you have your leaps, but yeah, you need more Bitcoin because you've got a heavy load of Tesla. And Tesla could go through a little bit of a weak patch, but I'm hoping it does dip so we can buy more. Jesse Ioannidis. Oh, and by the way, the Tesla stuff is just mind-blowing what they do. Most people probably didn't grasp AI Day, but it was hugely impressive. Jesse, I'm thinking about swapping some of my Theta for Bitcoin. ETH, Sol, and AAVE would now be a smart time to do so, even after a recent pump. Yeah, it's hard to say. Let me have a quick look at what Theta did. And for all the Theta lovers out there, I love Theta too. I just like bigger TAMs, total addressable markets. And let me see. Where is it? Okay. Here it is. Took a minute above it. Oh, it had a nice bounce. Nearly 740 today. You'd be buying into things that have already run a lot. You take my price projections, map them to where we are today, pick the ones you like, build out a spreadsheet, and identify where they are on the chart and the potential upside and how you diversify. So that's what I always do. I look at cost today, cost basis, gains or losses, tax implications, and then multiples of where you could be if you did swap out, because you need to calculate all of that. So it's not a trivial answer, just selling something and buying something else. You've got to look at all these other factors. So hope that helps a bit. Take out your spreadsheet and do some calculations. Infinite Leeches. You talk about the market is super bullish, but should I buy anything now? Do you see a correction after the run to 50K and a lot of money available on the sidelines? So if you're talking Bitcoin, what I see happening is once we hit 50K, in fact, let's see where we are. And right now, we are pumping as usual. It's almost uncanny. When you guys are all here, Bitcoin just goes up. So big thank you for that. I think once it hits $50,000, you can have sellers coming out of the woodwork. And we'll have a little sideways consolidation. There's another chain of thought that is once it hits 50,000, the big buyers will come in. It's like they'll think, oh my God, we're above 50K now. Everybody's going to FOMO in. If I don't get some, I'm going to be in trouble. So that could happen too. But I think it's more likely we'll consolidate sideways at the 50K level. Next week will be a little bit volatile because of the options expiration. So some games will be played, especially for people with big options positions that I highlighted. So that's what I see what's happening. And there is a lot of money on the sidelines, and the institutional money is just coming in, like wave after wave. So that's good news too. B Kitty, family member gave me fiat to invest on his behalf in Bitcoin. Do I DCA or do I just buy? And it is not a large sum of fiat, but it's not really my money, so it's awkward. Be very careful with family and investing. If something goes sideways, it can burn a family badly. So that's the first thing I'd say. Second, if you're getting something for somebody, make sure they know exactly what you're doing and why you do it, and ask them what their motivation is. So that's the way I kind of see it. And right now we're at that critical time where that 50K level, it's either going to go sideways or it's going to go up from there. Might be a little bit of a dip, but it's just the buying pressure I've seen over the last couple of days has been intense. So it's hard to say. I don't want to give investment advice, but if they didn't have any Bitcoin, this could be a chance to get under 50K. Thanks for your donation as well. Super Gadgets, Mr. Sforza, Carl Vattore, Toby, Rod Izzle. Hello from the Dread family. I don't know what the Dread family is. I need to look it up. And Neon Visual. You're always here and you're always so kind. And I think there's so many questions and you guys are so kind. And oh my God. Tony for the monkeys. Kuviking. Maybe some of the donations can go towards BC wildfire, animal eviction site. Half of my province is on fire. I will definitely check that out. We'll definitely see, those forest fires. I live right beside one too. It is shocking the way the world is on fire. No, Australia is on fire too, in parts of Europe. Holiday Blaze, you're the real deal. Thank you. Marzana G, Kiwi Robin, you are so kind, and Kiwi, we owe you for doing all you do. Roddy Tudel, Marzana G, thank you for what you do and what you do for the animals, and greetings from Dublin. You're very kind, and you should be in bed. It's late. It's after midnight. Nemanja Matovic, and I think we should probably turn off K8, the super chats, because getting too many right now, and it's Friday. But do you look into Digibyte? We are in the process of digging into Digibyte right now, Nemanja, so expect a survey or at least some indication very soon. Ines Barnard, thoughts on XBT coin tracker? It's all I can access with my SIP. That's fine. If that's the only on-ramp you have, Ines, that is perfectly fine. It is not like holding pure Bitcoin, but it's good enough if you don't have any other on-ramp, especially in a retirement account. Nav, do you still see dips coming with Sol, Amazon, Tesla, Google, Microsoft? My limit order suggestions, etc. Also thoughts on Exodus Wallet and Trezor integration. So first of all, a lot to digest in that, Nav. I see some stock market weakness coming over the next couple of weeks. I think many are expecting that now. It's not just me. We had a strong day today, but some things are definitely very weak. And what did MicroStrategy do today? I know people are saying people are very bearish in MicroStrategy. I think it went up $50. And let me see. There's just so much money out there. No, only $41 for MicroStrategy. It was up more than 50 today at one stage. I do see volatility in Tesla. I'm hoping to see Amazon near 3,000. Then I'm going in. Google is just a machine. That thing just plods upwards the whole time. Microsoft, I don't touch. So that's the way I see it. So the limit order suggestions are mine. They're super conservative. I like to buy cheap. I like to buy in dips. I have finger on the trigger when that does happen. We don't know what happens. And in terms of Exodus Wallet, we have something coming up that will answer that exact question. Exactly. So thank you for your question, Nav. Steve, have you looked at Digibyte? DGB, second question. We are digging into that right now, but thank you for that. Investrella, how do you leave your crypto keys to your heirs in your will? Detailed instructions in a safe, in a lockbox. Tell them exactly what to do and keep things separated. So we'll be covering some of that as well in the near future. Nitiliki, is that Little Nicky backwards? That's cool. Tesla 1% cloud retire in Tesla video. Working on it. There's so much. I wanted to wait for AI Day to be over for my new valuation updates. They're even talking about building robots to do solar roofs on things. I mean, it's just mind blowing what these guys are doing. And how that guy, I know you guys might hate Elon Musk. Look what he does. Neural net, Starlink, Tesla, solar roofs, SpaceX. I mean, it's like, freaking genius. He's starting to misbehave on Tesla again. Or on Twitter again. He did something silly a few hours ago, but you gotta love him. He's a genius and he's eccentric. Cryptolicious. What's our next Solana? Avalanche was the next Solana, and we got into it in the retiring crypto portfolio a month ago, just in time. Perfect. So we are looking for all the next Solanas all the time. We've now built a model that has just been expanded to top 300 cryptos, just in case something good is out there. Maybe number 247 is good. We don't know. So that's what we're doing, building out way more data-driven analytics to be able to do this. And these tools are very helpful. I might send Gary Gensler a list to say, look at these cryptos. But I'm kidding. So that's what we're always looking at, and the people on Patreon will find out first. So, NeoCharm. Oh, by the way, I keep on getting questions. When is Patreon going to open? When it's going to open? It's not going to open. It's closed. You might have a chance September 1st to get in if people don't renew or their credit cards expire. All the billing, all that stuff is handled by Patreon. We don't control it. The only thing we control is the cap. So that's the Patreon news. And again, we want to keep a tight, small, intimate community with like-minded people. So NeoCharm, ever done one on Theta and Theta Fuel? Yes, I did. A couple of days ago. Got a lot of hate from it as well. So check out my Theta video, NeoCharm. You are very kind, but it's a detailed report. It didn't cover all aspects, but it covered enough to be able to make an investment decision. Bomb Biggie, including my price prediction charts. You're so kind. Looked at again at Celsius. Is it really as good as it looks? I tell you, it is mind blowing what Alex Mashinsky has done. And I don't want to sound like a fanboy of everything. I use Tesla, and now I'm hooked on the pipe of getting the weekly interest and stuff. It's like the way they give 80% back to the community is incredible. The way they're so transparent, it's incredible. The rates are incredible. it's just a completely brilliant company, and I hope it lasts forever. I really do. I hope the regulators don't mess with it. That's my only concern. And when I did interview Alex, that was my, I think it was one of my final questions to him. What keeps you awake at night? And I knew the answer, but he said regulation. So it was sad to hear. But hopefully regulators will be okay. And I think they're well positioned to deal with them. Lunchman 1975. Any thoughts on Kava DeFi? A few of my friends and I are using it for passive income, and so far so good. I haven't done a deep dive in Kava, but there's so many DeFi plays out there. We tend to focus on the biggest and best. So we can have a brief look and find out. And thank you so much for your donation. I wish I had a better answer for you, but there's so many places out there to get crazy things, but also a lot of the fringe, not saying Kava is one, but some of the further out DeFi plays are vulnerable to all sorts of things, including regulation, including hacks. So be careful where you put your money. Video Popper. You think we're going to see deeper market-wide pullbacks 18 to 20% anytime soon? We'll see only small pullbacks, less than 10% till a new Bitcoin all-time high. So if you're talking just Bitcoin and crypto, 18 to 20% is nothing for Bitcoin. It can do that overnight. But the problem I have is when I look at everything that's happening, all the new adoption, like it's really, everything's going hockey stick. So we're at 1.5% of the population. Now that 1.5% is growing at record rates. There are, I can't remember the exact number, but millions and millions of new wallets every couple of weeks. And on top of that, you've got the institutional investments buying in, and the treasuries, and the pensions, and you've got sovereign states. I mean, there's just, everything's going like this. So could I expect a breather? Yes. Is it probable? 20% correction take us back down to 40,000? I could be. 42, I think, is maybe possible, but there's a very small chance of that. There's like 20% chance. So that's what I see. There might be 10% breathers all the time, 5,000. Even 10% is a big chunk right now to go back to 45K. And I know people, if that does happen, the problem is the big money, any dip now they're buying. They have algorithms configured to buy any dip. So you see any weaknesses immediately bought up. So, sorry, Video Popper. I hope that helps you. But I think just we're in a really bullish cycle right now. JRK horns. And all the data is not my feeling. It's what the data tells me that I look at. JRK horns. Can you give me a few reasons for against sending my entire HODL portfolio to Celsius for yields? Just in case anything happens. You know, I never believe in having all your eggs in one basket. It's a very age-old rule, and it's a safe one to abide by. I believe you can take a third of your crypto bag and stick it in Celsius. Maybe take a third, stick it somewhere else, or stake it somewhere safe or whatever. That's kind of what I do. But it is very enticing to do everything in Celsius, and it gets a bit addictive, and I am now addicted to it. So, and I was the one who was super, super reverse. But once I spoke to Alex and saw him eye to eye, I was like, I just got so much more confidence. Adept views on UMA. Let's have a quick look and see if it's even in here. Yeah, it's middle of the road so far. It's just outside the top 100, so we haven't a detailed scan, but it's in the top third. So we break, as you know, with me, I break everything into thirds. It's in the top third of cryptos right now from Adept 1. So far, so good. And we'll dig in a little bit more. It's just outside the top 100, so I think it's ranked 109 right now. So we're a little bit, we're focusing on the top 100 first, and then we start scaling the model to be able to do a better quant view of it from there. Father of Dragons, presuming Bitcoin is going to 100K at the end of the bull run. It's currently halfway through. However, ETH is nowhere near half the values predicted by you. True. So mathematically, if Bitcoin goes up 5x, Ethereum goes 7x or 10x or more. So according to my numbers, the way I see it, and they all kind of coalesce naturally, not because I've rigged my pricing models, but I always saw conservatively 8,900, which is basic 3x from here. Bitcoin will 2x from here. And that's always the ratio that they have. You know, Ethereum's just a faster horse. Now, what makes me even more bullish on Ethereum is the fact that their network is growing like crazy. DeFi is coming to the fore. NFT world is exploding. so much more functionality is there, and the fact that they are going to go deflationary in December. That is huge, and that's why I'm upping it. So, yep, Father of Dragons, we're halfway there for Bitcoin, and a third way there at least for Ethereum. Crystal Hernandez, I'm very interested to hear what you think of discrete log contracts and DeFi on the Bitcoin network and its potential to make Chainlink and others. Yeah, we're digging into the whole Taproot and smart contracts and the ecosystem around that. We haven't done a deep dive yet, but that will be coming. I think it is extremely positive. I think between the work that Lightning is doing and Strike and the investments that Jack Dorsey is going to make, I think the sky's the limit for what will happen. But we'll have a quick look at that. And all the money now flowing into development for Bitcoin is like never before. So I will take a note of that, and you will hear more from me on discrete log contracts. As you know, I am a complete DeFi fan. And the other beauty of having DeFi on Bitcoin, just to go off on a little rant here, is it is truly decentralized. So if you do have DeFi running off of Bitcoin, the regulators won't go after it. So that's the super positive news on that one. So let me see. Thank you, Crystal, very much. Rise of the Crypto Walker. Do you support Darwin's theory of evolution? And is the Earth flat, rhombus, or circle? Thoughts on Anchor? I don't want to get into religious things, but you can imagine. I believe the universe is driven by mathematics, so you can imagine where I fall. And I know for a fact the world is not flat. So I don't want to offend any flat earthers out there. And Anchor, let's have a quick look at Anchor in the compendium. So there we are. Ooh, Anchor Protocol. Yeah, it didn't score well at all so far. But we've yet to go real deep because it's so far out there. It's 160 or 150 or something like that. But so far, it's not on our radar, and there's a lot more to get through before we ever get to Anchor. So apologies, Rise the Crypto Walker. Again, rummaging around the top 200 or the number 200 or 150 plus is always a dangerous place as far as we're concerned. Michael Brindley, thoughts on XLM Stellar? It's a reward on Coinbase card of 4%. Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're so happy with the rewards, but I look much more to capital appreciation than just a 4% reward. It's like staking 6% doesn't get me excited. I want to make 100, 200, 300% of my money, or 1,000% or 2,000%. That gets me excited. I don't want to sound rude, but 6% doesn't get me out of bed. So that's the situation on that one. And XLM Stellar comes from the same family as XRP. They line their pockets. The tokenomics is horrible. It just not exciting. So sorry, Michael. That's my thought on Stellar. And in fact, let's look at it on the compendium, see what it says. XLM. Yeah. So out of a score of 10, composite score, it scores a 3. So it is really bad. Really, 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 really bad in our model. Like it's not far off where Hex is, believe it or not. So don't like Stellar. And again, not me. It's the numbers speaking. So I want to make that very clear. I don't want to offend anybody's XLM bag at all. Craig Diss, is your evaluation model publicly available? No. Craig, so what was happening within Patreon was people were stealing my models and selling them as their own, building up their own channels, their own Twitter channels, their own YouTube channels, and taking all my stuff and all my content and posting it verbatim. So I've had to, sadly, because I'm a very big believer in transparency, lock more of my stuff down. So in the past, I was just sharing everything, throwing everything at everybody, but now people are stealing it. And in the wrong hands, it could be dangerous. So we're working on a way of just sharing these models with a select few. But thank you so much for your question, Craig. Hussein, what do you think about multivac? I don't know what multivac is, I'm afraid. Let's see if it's even here. So people, it's not even in the top 300. I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's a technology or a crypto or anything else. Again, I'm highly focused. And I'm even dabbling in the top 300 now, which is crazy, but only from a quant perspective. But I'm deepest apologies, Hussein. I don't know what multivac is. Andrew Llewellyn, beautiful name. Thoughts on CPNG? Coupang looks like the Korean version, very stage Amazon. It has some short-term challenges, but I plan to hold long-term. Let me have a look and pull it up in 1 second. And it's very hard for me to analyze a stock in seconds, but sometimes I can do it. Let me pull up that and have a quick look and see if I can tackle another question in the meantime. But there's a lot of good stuff coming out of Korea, but I don't even have it in my equities model. Sorry about that, Andrew. I'll pencil it down and check it out, but I have this other big stock screener model that looks at all the key ratios, trying to like the crypto compendium, but it's not even on there, so I must be very obscure. Super Gadgets 360. Why you deleted Discord Zoom call video yesterday? Yes. So what I do every week is I have, for Patreon capitalists, I have a Zoom meeting every week for an hour plus, and I answer all the questions and show models and do stuff like that. It was published, and instead of being published private, it was published public, which was a mistake. And after 5 minutes, it was taken down. So, Super Gadgets, that's what happened. That's for just Patreon only. So sorry about that. And thank you for a donation, Jeeves. You're so kind. Cry Havoc. You mentioned donating some of your proceeds to preventing human trafficking or helping the victims. I 100% support that. We are working with somebody to be able to try to do more of that as well. So there's so much opportunity now when we see things like, George has an NFT for 1.3 Ethereum. Imagine we could create an NFT or something where contributions, donations, or value could be transposed into preventing human trafficking or helping orangutans or whales or whatever else. That's where we want to go. So I'm having conversations with some people about how we can do that. And that would be a great way as well for things like donations and contributions to happen. But I don't want to get too into the weeds of setting up corporations and all that type of stuff. I just don't have the time to go through all the federal approvals and everything else. But anyway, separate question. So, Crystal Hernandez, thank you. Edward Bachman, Andrea GB, thank you for sharing your gift. Alan Avery, End Time is scarce. I'm not sure. You'll look into it. Thank you. I'll have a look at End Time. I take all of these chats are recorded and summarized, and anything comes out, I will dig when I can. And if you don't hear from me afterwards, it means I didn't find anything good. Living the dream. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much as well, everybody. And I hope everybody's having a good Friday. And Bitcoin just fell $100. That's a bit sad. But you know what? You can't win them all. Somebody's mother. I fell asleep and forgot to put my limit order for Invitae last night. Woke up to see it back up over 25. Is it still a buy at this level or set a trap and wait? Let's have a look at the quick chart. Somebody's mother. And good job setting limits, or at least planning to set limits, even though you didn't do it that time. It had a nice bounce from 24 all the way to 25.6. Oh, a nice 6-7% day. The chart tells me right now, I'm trying to see if I can, it's down at that level. It was cheap. It's a $40 stock. It's going back to 40. When you're buying something for $24 or $25, it doesn't really matter. Just put in a limit for $25.10 and keep your fingers crossed and wait. So I do expect more volatility, but again, as I always said, Invitae was like rock bottom at that 24, 25 level. So there's not much downside, and it's a great long-term hold. The work that they're doing is mind-blowing. And thank you for donations as well as Angela K, Maury, and Tuna Zone, X-Toast, and JB Shayab. You are all very, very kind and grateful. And I think that could be it. I know that... yes. That's it, everybody. I just want to say goodnight and make sure we didn't miss anything. And thank you as well for everybody just being here. I always say this prediction the last couple of weekends, is it going to be a good weekend? And right now I look at some metrics first thing Friday morning before lunchtime, and everything is looking extremely positive. So I believe this could be a good weekend, at least a good Saturday. Sometimes a little bit of weakness on a Sunday, but we'll see what happens. So and who knows when we'll get to where we need to be. And by the way, I'll be back with George and Rob on Sunday. I got the weekly Q&A for you guys as well over the weekend. And I'll do a quickie tomorrow morning. Thanks all. Happy Friday. See you soon.